We can clap whenever.
Oh, wait, let me remember to turn off my audio quality thingy, NVIDIA broadcast. There we go. Now it will capture claps.
Oh. All right. Let's go at 30.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Those were perfect. Nice.
Turn it back. Nice.
Yeah, I'm proud of those. Proud of those claps. This one might be the most exact claps.
I'm proud
I've
of
ever
you.
seen. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too. Oh, wait. I take the awe of understanding over the awe of ignorance any day. Douglas Adams.
Already clicked away. Oh, okay.
No!
I'm not going to say that I'm glad that Douglas Adams is gone, because Douglas Adams was a great author. I really appreciate his works. It's not the worst thing that we didn't get to wait and see which side of the turf line he'd fall on.
Oh, God.
Because
if he was an AstroTurf or...
it's like 50-50 over there. and the numbers for authors are worse.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow. For some reason, yeah.
Indeed.
He did die tragically young, though. So that certainly I'm not suggesting that I'm glad that Douglas Adams died.
All right. Okay. Hello, and welcome to episode 163 of the Gaming Fyx podcast on March 13th, 2021. I'm your host, Andre Cole, aka your partner's favorite Ninja Turtle. I'm joined today by Alex.
Is April O'Neil technically a Ninja Turtle? I know she's not a turtle.
She's
and
neither
she's not
a ninja nor a turtle.
Okay,
She gets kind of there's like sometimes in the comics when she gets kind of ninja-y, but
yeah,
like she fights people.
Okay. Is
but she's not
Splinter
a
a
ninja.
ninja?
He is their teacher, so like I guess he's not a turtle though.
Well, he's not a ninja turtle. The only Ninja Turtles are the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, it'd be Venus. Like Venus.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know either.
That is the one girl Ninja Turtle.
I don't know when that character was introduced.
I don't know either, but she is the only girl, and instead of being named after an artist, she is named after a piece of art.
I have to be honest. I did grow up with Ninja Turtles. I'm a child of the 90s. And I like the Ninja Turtles. So let's get that out of the way. I don't have the same degree of nostalgia for the Ninja Turtles that a lot of people my age do.
That is Pat bringing the hot takes.
Yeah. It's not really a hot take.
Doesn't like the Ninja Turtles.
I didn't say that the Ninja Turtles weren't good. I just said I don't have.
You don't like pizza?
Much. No, I like pizza a lot.
Hell yeah!
I don't get to eat a lot of pizza anymore.
Out of the main four, who we connecting with? We got Leonardo. He's the leader. Donatello. He does machines. That's Alex. Alex does machines.
This is the thing.
That's not a rumor you should start.
This is the thing. Is like, people do this, right? Where they're like, oh, what Ninja Turtle are you? Which is your favorite Ninja Turtle? I remember all of them just based on the weapons that they have. I don't remember them as being different personality wise. And when I say that, I get like run up the freaking flagpole.
Raphael's cool but rude, and Michelangelo's a party dude. Like,
I understand. I think I'm a Donatello, given that criteria.
You've got like bad boy, party boy, does machines, and leader. Like, what the four personality traits? It's very easy to understand.
The only touchstone I have for Ninja Turtles these days is the TMNT Wikipedia titles Twitter.
I do like that.
Sure, yeah.
And again, like, I like the Ninja Turtles movies. just fine. And I like the Ninja Turtles cartoon, just
Go
fine.
Ninja, go Ninja, go.
And I like the Ninja Turtles video games, just fine.
Well,
This
this
is
is
of the
banner week
Ooze?
for you.
Yeah, I like Ninja Turtles
Yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah,
I
wait till we
also
get to news. But
I don't get. But like when I saw that, for example, I wasn't like, yes, oh my god, my childhood is back.
Yeah.
what
Sure.
what would
Which
make
is
you
cool.
do that? Like, what property could they do the same treatment for, and it would make you have that reaction?
Well, that's okay. Zoids, number one.
The fuck
Bring
is
Zoids
Zoids?
back.
I don't know
Beast
Zoids. What is
Wars.
Zoids?
Oh my god, Zoids is the coolest shit in the
I'm
universe.
googling it right now.
It's an anime, and it's about giant robots who are also animals.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
And
Oh, you and Andre were actually on the same page then.
it fucking whips. It's
Like,
so good.
Beast,
It
Beast
is.
Wars is very similar.
It's better than Beast Wars.
Okay.
IMO. And like seriously, the Zoids anime, especially the Lost Century, is pretty good.
Okay.
I would
Cool.
recommend it to anybody. It's for children for sure, but it's good. It's kind of like Gundam if the Gundams had personalities and like were people, because the Zoids are like animals. They have like they think and stuff. They're not like sapient, but they're like, animals. And also sick robots.
Is it kind of like a progenitor to Horizon in a way?
Yes, that's a very good point of comparison for sure. I would actually, I never thought about that before, but I bet I'd be shocked if Gorilla hadn't at least someone there hadn't at least seen Zoids before because they even kind of look a little bit like the stuff in Horizon. It's really good. And then also Gargoyles. Those are the two.
Oh, hell yeah, Gargoyles.
If they made like a cool Gargoyles video game, I would flip out.
I think we've discussed this before.
You're going to like the secret game that I brought this week then.
Cool. Gargoyles is better than Zoids also, I should say. I didn't list those in any kind of order. Zoids rules, but Gargoyles is like both rules from the this is cool action perspective and like introduces kids to Shakespeare. It's like that and the Batman animated series are the two best cartoons of all time. Easy.
How about you, Alex? What would that oh my god, my childhood is back action be?
Dog, we've talked about reboot before.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I would be
then they did
stoked.
reboot it and it was a fucking disaster.
That's the thing about Zoids is the original Zoids thing was awesome, and then they've been continuing to reboot Zoids every 2 or 3 years in Japan, and it's garbage every time. And they did make some Zoids video games, and they were terrible. They were like bad Gundam games. So I just want someone to do it right.
Like I mean, for me, it's Dragon Ball, but it's got to be like an exceptional Dragon Ball game. And they like Dragon Ball Fighters. That was the best Dragon Ball game that's ever been made. I still love like the GBA ones, but if they did like another if they had done Kakarot but made it like the GBA games more, basically if they made it like Yakuza.
Yeah, no, totally.
Wow.
That's what they should do. I think that's kind of what I'm getting at with Zoids is if the Zoids logo came up on screen at E3, like I would be excited to see a thing that I like on a screen and see that millions of people are maybe not million, I don't know, that lots of people are forced to look at it. But I also would be like, they've made shitty Zoids games in the past. Whereas if they flash Gargoyles on the screen, like there hasn't really been any Gargoyle stuff in a long time. So I'd be way more excited at the possibility space.
Aren't they doing a reboot?
There wasn't a Bakugan game for a long time, and that came back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it would necessarily be good, but let me think. That's what I want. Man, the flying and Gargoyles could be so fucking cool in like a big open world game.
Or in a multiplayer kind of, shooter type scenario where you're flying around and not in a plane and you're maybe like riding a gargoyle.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And like your X button shoots fireballs and then your circle button does like a flame breathe.
what I think I want before we move on to that, what was the Warner Brothers team that made Shadow of Mordor?
Montreal.
That was Montreal?
It was Montreal, yeah.
I want WB Montreal, I think, to make a Gargoyles game. I think they would do a pretty awesome job with something like that.
With the Nemesis system.
Well, I was going to say, you could put the Nemesis system in a Gargoyles game and it would be sick as fuck. And instead of making it like a RPG where you pick a character, I think you could just have multiple player characters. Like you play as the different gargoyles,
and you need Jonathan Frakes in there. Like you just
it wasn't Montreal.
It wasn't.
Did Montreal make the? Because I would also accept one of them.
They did Arkham Origins. It was Monolith did Shadow of Mordor.
Oh, Monolith. Yeah, that's who I want.
Right.
Yeah, I would want Monolith to make it. I think they would do a really good job with that.
Right, and they just recently had all that Nemesis system patenting, right? I forgot.
Which sucks. It's stupid. It's bad. There's nothing good about that. But also, give me a Gargoyles game with the Nemesis system in it, and let me glide around New York. And it's cool. You wouldn't even have to make it so you could go inside of buildings because they're gargoyles, so it wouldn't feel like inauthentic. And you could have sequences. You could do the thing that they do in Spider-Man. You could have sequences where you play as Elise Maza and do like cool like stealth shit and stuff as a person or as a human. Gargoyles are people. But anyway, it's my fantasy Gargoyles game.
Well, this week we've got some games that aren't fantasies. They're real. You can play them. They're
sort of.
They're almost. They're in production.
Yes.
Yeah.
At some point, maybe it'll be completed. You both played some sort of game. I hear they're dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here there be dragons.
Here, I know we're a fan of one thing and one thing only, and that's dragon fucking. Yeah. How much dragon fucking is in this game?
So, on a scale from, I don't even know what the no dragon fucking
1 to 69.
Well, if like Divinity Dragon Commander is like a definite yes to dragon fucking, because like you're the product of your character is the product of a human and a dragon fucking. This game isn't quite there, but you do get eggs and then incubate them. So like,
yep, you incubate
there's
them
off screen
with your XP.
Yeah, with your peepees. If this was a Dead Rising game.
Yeah.
No, so we both played Century Age of Ashes, which is currently doing a closed play test on Steam. You can still request access to that play test if you go to the store page. And I saw some people in the Discord say that they requested access yesterday and got in. So I believe they are scaling the test. And it's according to the developer, the way that Steam's beta test stuff like that works is Steam just rolls a die and picks a name when they ask for more players. So presumably if you request access today, you have the same shot as everybody else getting in. So but it's also coming out in April and it's going to be free to play, so you don't have to wait very long if you don't get into the playtest. And
yeah, so the short version, if y'all listen and have never heard of this thing, Century Age of Ashes,
which I wouldn't blame you, because it showed up in like the Game Awards or something for a 2-minute trailer.
And it's kind of a crappy name.
Yes, it's a terrible name.
But it's basically a like a combat flight simulator, but you're playing as a dragon. And there's at the moment 3 different characters that have different kind of abilities. One is more like a support type, then there's like an attack type, and then there's like a stealth type, I guess. Yeah. Where you get like kind of some signature abilities that the others can't do, and it like charges up on a timer kind of thing. Or is it timer, or is it based on like kills that you get?
I think it's cooldown. Okay. I don't think it's based on kills. You and the way that the loadouts work is like everybody has the same 2 like weapons, which I'm using mouse and keyboard, so it's like a left click and right click thing, and then you have your class feature, and then you have 1 like loadout slot where you pick different things. But there's only 2 per class right now. And there's a little bit of overlap in the loadout slot because two of the classes can both use this like delayed blast kind of thing. But they're otherwise unique. And it plays like you mentioned Crimson Skies yesterday, Alex, which I think is a better comparison than pretty much anything else I can think of. Which a lot of people also haven't played Crimson Skies, but Crimson Skies is real good. It's a really good game. I actually, after you said that, I was like, what if I play some Crimson Skies this weekend?
Isn't it on Game Pass, or is it just on backwards compatibility?
It's on backwards compatibility, so you can get it. You can play it anytime if you have an Xbox. Which I do. You might have to buy it, but I absolutely own that. So
yeah, if y'all haven't played Crimson Skies, you should. That game is
it's really really good. The PC version was cool too, the old one. But High Road to Revenge on the Xbox is the pinnacle. That's like maybe my favorite of those kind of games, even more than the Rogue Squadron games.
Sure, the arcadey kind of.
Yeah, and that's
like flight combat. Yeah,
that's what we're getting at here. Is it's very much and it's very arcadey. There's not really any kind of like play for realism here. So with Century, the way that works is it moves very fast, and the things that make it work are one of the biggest problems in games like this is the like turn fight thing where you just end up circling someone. This is a problem that Star Wars Squadrons has, where you're just basically trying to like outmaneuver someone in a turning fight. And that's pretty accurate to how it would be in real life if you were in space shooting at each other with tiny spaceships. But it's not very fun when you're riding dragons, but they do a good job in this game of making the flight work in such a way that it kind of never works to try to do a turn fight, because you have an accelerate and brake button. And if you hold the acceleration, but there's kind of like 4 speed states. There's the I'm not pushing any buttons and just kind of idle flying forward at a medium speed. Yeah. And then there's holding the accelerate button down, and then you go faster. You can double tap and hold the accelerate button, and it burns stamina to boost. And then you can hold down a brake button to slow down. But when you hold the brake button down, you basically stop in midair and you're a sitting duck. So there is no way to like slow down in an analog way to try to turn fight someone, which actually works in the game's favor because it prevents that from happening. Since the speeds are so like kind of like ticks instead of a slider, it means that you really do get it just doesn't. I've never once been like, oh, I should really. You do like, oh, I want to get a tight turn and drop on this player, but you don't. I don't ever find myself like continually turning. Instead, it's much.
I actually did find myself doing that because that ends up being the best way to evade. But
if you're trying to get away from something, that's I guess I mean more like to try to target somebody. But I also, were you playing with a mouse and keyboard or a controller?
I was playing on controller actually.
Okay.
And one other thing about the speeds. So yes, you're right. It has those 4, but also there's momentum in a way. So like if you're going just horizontal, flat, straight line, you won't be going super fast. But as soon as you start having downward trajectory, you'll get more speed. So if you want to like catch up to someone, you're going to actually kind of be doing dive bombs and then swooping back up kind of thing.
Yeah, that's good to know too. Yeah, is that your speed is dependent on like kind of the direction, like the pitch that you're flying at too. I think
like if you're going upwards, you'll be slower. But there's also like what are essentially jump pads to really rapidly throw you into the air so that you can dive bomb and get a ton of speed really fast.
I need to try it on controller. I was playing mouse and keyboard, which I really enjoyed, but that's something that to kind of say all this is the flying, in my opinion, feels exceptionally good, which is the thing I was surprised about because like this is a game by a studio that has been making mobile games for like 15 years. And this is their first like big, they changed their name to make this game because their old name was Advanced Mobile Applications. And they're actually CEO'd by Christian Guillermo, like Eve's brother. And they changed their name to Playwing to make this game. They're based in the UK. And they've been making it for the past like 4 years, I want to say. They changed their name in 2017 anyway. And they the movement is like surprisingly awesome. The only thing I don't like about it is when you run into stuff, it feels very awkward, and it like, oh, I can't hear you now, Alex, just so you know.
That's okay. I was accidentally double muted, but yeah, the running into stuff is very common.
I wish that once you kind of get the hang of it, you do it a little less, and then it feels better. I wish that I almost wish that you just like, it was more punishing or something. I don't know. Cause you kind of like bounce off of objects and slide a little bit, and it's not the best feeling. That aside though, all the other flying to me feels really, really good. You get like lots of cool moments where you're like drifting in the air because you hold the brake down and turn and slide around a corner and then hammer on the boost and take off. It's cool.
I will say, oh, sorry, go for it, Andre.
Well, I was just going to say, with that bouncing off the walls thing, it says their team is like 30 people. They're just over 30 people, but if they had like more resources, something like hit the wall and the dragon like actually reacts and like climbs on it or something, that'd be cool.
And this is very much a beta. The current state of the game feels like a beta,
and they're launching into early access in April. So
so like, that'd be something cool to see.
That could be something. Like, there are some environmental interactions. There's one of the classes where you can put mines on walls and stuff like that. So that if, enemy dragon gets within certain proximity, it blows up, kind of thing. But yeah, I will say, Pat, I don't know if you felt this way, but I think the main gameplay point of this game is the movement, because the shooting is largely inconsequential. Like, there's no real accuracy, or like you're not being like, it's not super like fast reactions, because the movement of the projectiles is really slow, and like you're basically just kind of locking onto a target and it hits that. Like, so
it's kind of like a Panzer Dragoon or something, where like when you get within range of, you have two weapons, you have like you have a loadout slot that can be a weapon like item, but the basic weapons are, you have a fireball, which as soon as the reticle of a target turns green, you can start firing it, and they'll track them and home in on them. And then you have a breath weapon you can shoot when you're at close range.
Yeah, it's like a DOT,
you hold it down. And I think it works really well because it takes away, it's not frustrating to shoot at people, but because of the way that it works, you can do some really interesting stuff with how you like position to throw off people's accuracy, and to like, because of the ways that the fireballs move, like you say, they move kind of slow. So you do have to think about like, oh, if I just, because you have like 3 fireball ammo, we'll say, and you can shoot them rapidly, but then they slowly recharge. So you can't just like keep shooting. And if you're moving, like if you're like perpendicular to someone and you shoot fireballs at them in an open space, the fireballs will track them and hit them eventually. But there's really no open spaces here. I mean, like there's always like spires of rock or buildings or something. And so as soon as they fly behind something, your fireball tries to track them and then just goes into a wall, and it doesn't hit. So you have to think about how you're positioned and where they're positioned to kind of realize where the fireballs are going to hit. And this is all happening so fast, but because it does that sort of lock on auto aim thing, it makes you feel like you can do it and it, at the end for me, what it did is it made me feel really cool, because I would like slide around a corner behind someone, fire off a couple fireballs and do my breath attack and kill them, and then dive down and go under a cave or something and recover stamina from the vents in the ground. And it's a really cool feeling to like chain together a life where you're getting a bunch of kills. It feels very cinematic.
Yeah, it looks really good too. But
it's beautiful.
I just watched the trailer on Steam. I was like, oh, this game looks fucking rad.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks really good. I think it's largely really good, but I think at the moment with the 2 modes they have in there, it does feel really shallow to me. Like, I played probably about 2 hours overall, and by the end of that, I was like, I don't know if I need to play anymore, because with the current like modes that it has available, which are basically a 3-on-3 or a 6-on-6, 6-on-6, all the games feel pretty much the same. Like, it's not ultra team based. Like, you do have a ping, Like you can be like, okay, let's all focus this person and stuff like that. But other than that, there's no real in-game communication. And it kind of just feels like you're in a free-for-all, but you happen to be on a team. So I would be interested in playing a mode that has like objectives. Or
So you didn't play Gates of Fire then?
I didn't see it as an option.
Yeah. So right now they have just the only queue is for simple match, which has the Carnage mode, which is 6v6. That has objectives, but they're not. So there's like it's a death match. There's a spear you can get, which gives you a one-hit kill if you go get it when it spawns.
The berserk whatever.
Yeah, there's like a fire drake that flies around, and if you kill it, you get like a extra damage and health. That mode is definitely more just like a death match. There's a mode called Gates of Fire, which is interesting that you didn't pull it because I almost always got it.
Really?
Where you have to.
Yeah, I played like 7 or 8 standard round games, and they were all the deathmatch mode.
Yeah, so Gates of Fire, you have to grab a flag and fly through these gates that pop up around the map. And it's interesting because it's basically like it's round based still. So it's the best 2 out of 3 for this mode. And you have to fly through them in one possession of the flag in order to count them. So there'll be like, it'll have like 8 score markers or whatever. And you pick up the flag, you fly through them. If you can fly through 8 without dying, then you win the round. If your opponent picks it up, then they have to try to fly through 8 without dying. And whoever has gotten, if it times out, which usually does because it's really hard to get through all of them, when it times out, whoever has gotten the furthest in the round, because they're not like, it's like they spawn one after the other. You pick the flag up and a gate spawns, you fly through it, and then another gate spawns. Sure. And they're on a track, so you can kind of anticipate where they're going to be. But whoever has basically flown through the most in a single life at the end of the timer wins. And that mode is really interesting because when you're holding the flag, you can't use any of your attacks or abilities. So what you have to do then as the other players on the team is rally around the person with the flag. And you can try to screen them because with the way the auto lock on works, it's very hard to lock on a specific enemy if they're all clumped together, which I think is by design, specifically so that you can do things like fly in a pack and screen fire for your teammate. And if you're the support class, you can still give them the shield when they're flying with the flag.
That sounds way better.
It's very cool. It's really fun. I think like the mix is good because I think to an extent the games turn out the same, but I would say the same thing about like Call of Duty, you know, like I don't think that it's the only thing that those games have is like I guess there's more depth because there's more content there, really. That's sort of what I think. This game to me needs more content, I think. Like it needs more classes and it needs more maps. Totally. And I think then it wouldn't feel, because I hear you're saying about it feeling shallow, but I think the game is definitely the game. And like there's one more mode coming too that's a 6v6v6 to 18 players.
That sounds chaotic.
And it's a death match, but it's like one life death match kind of thing where it's the last team standing and you can pick up your teammates' souls or whatever and then take them to a respawn point to respawn them. But it's not a battle royale. it's not that. It's still on fairly, I think it's on maybe slightly larger maps, but that mode is coming with early access.
There's no ring.
No. But I think once it has some more maps and some more character classes, which I believe they're adding over the course of early access, it'll feel a little bit more like the team dynamics will be a little bit more interesting. And I think if it gets those, it'll be great. I think if you were to play Gates of Fire with a team on voice chat against another team on voice chat, it would be a pretty it would be a pretty satisfying experience from a sort of like team tactics and strategy kind of thing. But I also like that it doesn't feel like you have to play with, it doesn't feel like a lack of voice chat. It's not like Valorant where like you just can't win because you're not communicating. It's the game does enough visually to communicate the objectives and what you need to be doing. I will say my actual biggest critique of the game is it's very hard for me to parse when I'm being shot at. It's not hard for me to tell when there's enemies targeted. They're very good about saying like, so-and-so is hunting you and following you and locking onto you. But there's a couple of like countermeasure type abilities that are designed to destroy fireballs that are hitting you. And I can't track when I'm getting shot at. Like there's so much happening on screen that I don't notice whatever their like signal is that there's fireballs tracking you. So usually it's more about like, oh, someone's hunting me, so I just need to evade them rather than their shots.
Yeah. So like what'll happen is around the screen, you'll have like little red arrows, which indicate where enemies are. And then you'll have like little red arrows with red boxes around them. And that's enemies that have bounties. And then you'll also have like these long, more elongated red arrows. And those are the fireballs that are hitting you.
It's really hard to tell the difference.
Yeah. So if you're surrounded by like 4 enemies and then like one of them has a bounty and then there's like 3 fireballs, all of those can kind of get jumbled together and look the same. So I would agree that the visual feedback could use some tweaking.
The nice thing though is that that's something that I think they could easily improve. Like a lot of times you look at games like this and like I think that the depth issue is something that'll get better with more character classes and more maps, and I think that UI tweaks will be good. But the core feel of this game is, even if they don't ever improve the collisions, is super good. And I have I'm really excited for it. And then, briefly before we could talk about it a long time, but it's going to be totally free to play. I don't know what they're going to do with new classes. The way they present the classes in the menus makes it seem like maybe you'll have to pay for new character classes, but I don't know.
I think it looked that way. Yeah.
I would say that the characters, some of the abilities feel a little imbalanced still, but for a starting point, it's way less bad than like say Overwatch was in beta. Otherwise it's because the characters don't have crazy differences and everyone's using the same 2 core weapons. It makes the balance feel pretty good. But then there's some people were complaining about this. I was like, it's a free to play game in 2021. There's a shitload of cosmetic stuff, which if you either like or you don't like, it's not gameplay affecting at all. There's no statistical changes to your character, but you can get different dragons. And then you can get different like gear for the character that you kind of play that rides them. So like a different sword and a different helmet. And it's funny because when you're playing, you're never seeing the people that ride the dragons. You'll see your own kind of, because they're in the middle of the screen, but you're never really looking at your model. But they do a really good job of like, before every match, they pick someone to highlight and their character like flies up to the screen and you get to see all of their like profile stuff and their cosmetics. And then at the end of the game, it'll do like an MVP thing and the winning team gets their little like moment and stuff. So you still get to show off the cosmetics and they're pretty cool. I don't know. I bought a helmet last night. There's no real money in the beta that you can pay, but I had enough gold to buy this helmet. It looked neat.
I have 2 last thoughts on it. Then I'm good. One of which, the main menu is 100% PUBG. like almost like to a T, which is not a complaint or like a bad thing, but you can tell where they're getting their influence, because it's just like you see your character standing in an area and then like all the menu options are surrounding it, and then you're tabbing over to various things to see like, oh, this is where you're doing your loadout for like your armor or your dragon armor, because your dragon can also get armor, and you can see the egg that you're hatching over here and all that kind of stuff. But so it's very PUBG inspired in terms of just UI UX for the core of it. Yeah,
I feel like that's every game now. Not that PUBG doesn't deserve some credit for introducing that, but looks like Fortnite too.
Yeah, that's also that's true. And then the other thing I'll say is, I think if you are learning a new character, their like rookie mode is fantastic. It's so smart, where basically what happens is the first round, everyone is limited in their abilities. They can only do the main like ranged attack and their fire breathing attack, so that you're basically just doing dogfights. Then the second round, they introduce like your I don't know what to call it,
but class ability,
the class
feature or something is what they call it.
So they basically are introducing new stuff one button at a time, and then the third round is when they introduce like your alt, if you want to think of it that way,
loadout
like
slot,
your loadout slot. So it's really cool because everybody's on the same playing field, and they're just introducing these things sequentially. so that like it makes learning a new character very easy because because you're doing it with buttons locked. It's great.
Those rookie matches are only available to level 10, which hopefully when you unlock new characters, you'll be able to do it. They've said, I guess, I didn't read too deep into it. I just saw some headlines that, and you can see it in the menu, there's like a ranked mode. And this could be its downfall, but they want this to be like a esports kind of thing. I
don't know if it has the depth for esports personally. Like, I think it's fun and I think it's arcadey. I just don't know that. I don't know. Maybe it could. I would have to see high level play.
I mean, I don't think it has any. Again, I think it's just a matter of more content. I don't think that inherently it's any less deep than Team Fortress. It's just that Team Fortress has more character classes. Like they do. Each class does 3 or does 2 unique things, which is not as many unique things as a Team Fortress or an Overwatch, but I think it would be fine if I think the game modes are a little more, I don't know, they're at least as dynamic as something like that. I just think there's just not enough character classes for there to be a more meaningful team interactions. I think when you start thinking about what the other character classes are doing, it adds a dimension to the game as well. Like when you're playing your own character, it just looks like everybody's flying around shooting fire at each other. But if you think about the fact like, oh, this teammate's a marauder, that means they're going in a deathmatch, for example, this marauder teammate is going to be able to put out more damage. So as the wind guard, I'm going to try to focus my healing ability on them. And, I had games where a phantom player was like leading me away from the person carrying the flag and then stealthing and then popping up to take the flag if their friendly died and stuff. So I think there is room for a lot of like tactical thinking. It's just because it moves so fast, it's hard to think about that stuff at first.
I guess for me, the issue comes from the lack of precision in terms of actual interaction you're having with enemies. Like your close range fire attack is just basically a flamethrower, like if you want to think of it that way. And then the projectiles you're doing are just so slow and they're pretty easy to evade once you know they're there, kind of. Like it's just, that's where I think it might have a downfall as an esport.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
Again, would have to see high level play to actually see.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's too early to know either way because nobody is playing it at a high level yet.
Exactly. Everybody's still learning it right now, so it's tough to say. It's a cool game. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with it further.
Totally. I'm very excited to see where it goes. And also it's funny that the dragon hatching thing is funny. I don't know why that really even, it's like you get a new cosmetic dragon, but you have to put it in a hatching slot and then play games and get XP for it to hatch.
Yep.
And like,
it's like real life.
And like, from the looks of it, they're going to charge like $20 for the like legendary tier of dragon, and it comes in an egg.
I didn't look at that.
So you pay like $20 to get a new egg, to get this crazy dragon, and then you got to play 10 games to hatch it. It's just funny. I mean, the legendary dragon looks pretty fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie.
No, like, they'll let you pay another $20 to accelerate. Like,
they do have XP boosts.
They do have XP boosts.
So. Yeah. I think it's funny. And it's just funny because clearly from the perspective of the things that matter, they're trying to target like skilled esportsy type people who want a game like that, where it's like, look, there's a very high skill ceiling to the weapons. Maybe don't have tons of precision, but there's a pretty high skill ceiling to the movement and navigating the maps. And then there's also like, if we make this about dragons, there's a lot of people who are really fucking into dragons, and they will totally buy $20 dragon skins. So it's just funny that was their chosen subject.
Man. No, never mind. I was going to make a dragons fucking cars joke, but we can move on.
There's no cars in this game.
No, sadly not.
Yet.
I don't think there ever will. I don't think it'll. It's very much like a fantasy world. It's not like Harry Potter. It's like, Lair or something.
God, you're right. It is kind of like Lair, but good.
It's a lot like Lair.
I haven't played Lair, but that was what I was like. Is this like Lair?
It's good, but yes, it's a lot like Lair.
Yeah. Anyways, play the playtest if you can still get into it. It's worth it.
How long is that going?
No idea.
It's going until the 21st, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
So it's like another week.
Solid week, yeah.
and apparently progress carries over into the full release in terms of like your progression, level up, and cosmetics and stuff.
Yeah, and you'll probably get some kind of banner that's like, "Oh, we were a playtester."
Maybe. It has a weird way that it gives you your quests, because it's like you have daily quests that refresh every day, and then there's the weekly quests are like, it's like they're not just available for a week, but they also unlock over the course of the week. So it's like day 2 of the week. So there's like dailies. There's like multiple dailies. It's weird. It's interesting.
So like you could come in on a Sunday or last day of the rotation and do all your weeklies.
Them. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I think, how I think it works.
Pokemon Unite actually does the same thing. So I wonder if it's just something that exists in the mobile space that we're not aware of.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like to keep people from doing all their weeklies in like a day. And it's they keep coming back.
It's kind of cool, I guess, if you have that. That's more what I'm getting at. Is kind of neat, because it's like, oh, well, I did everything in my quest log in like 45 minutes to an hour, but I know tomorrow I'm going to have another daily and another part of the weekly quest is going to unlock, which is kind of cool. It's also, though, the thing, it's fun enough that you don't need, this could have not had any cosmetic progression and been a $20 game, and I would be like just as excited about it. So it's just well made so far.
No, I've requested access.
Yeah,
we'll see. Yeah, it looks really neat.
I've also heard that it has really good servers in there's some people in Australia and in Southeast Asia saying that like they got good ping times, which is cool.
Nice. I've also heard that it runs like poo-poo on lower spec computers. So,
which is weird to me, because it runs like blisteringly fast for me, and I don't have like I also play this early access CryEngine Civil War game, and that game runs like shit on my computer. But so it's not like, I say that to say my computer is not some kind of like insane powerhouse at this point. It's good, has a 2070 Super in it. This game though runs really well. Yeah,
I've just heard that below some certain line, people are just like overheating their computers at the menu kind of thing. So it's like, it's not super optimized, but it's also like basically data. So
weird.
They added an option, I guess, to turn off motion blur, and that helped a lot of people. There's a lot of motion blur.
There's a lot,
as you can imagine.
Yeah. Well, that's Century Age of Ashes. How are we feeling about that name?
I had to look the name up about a half dozen times as I was playing.
Yeah, I forgot it until you said it just again.
I would be like, I think I played for 3 hours yesterday, and like mid-match, like at one point my partner was like, "What are you playing?" And I was like, I have to look at what it says in Steam, because I don't remember what this game is
Here,
called.
let me hit Shift Tab. Oh, there it is. It's a bad name.
I have been invited to play, so if
there you go.
Oh, that was like
that's what I'm saying. Is if you're listening live, just request access. It's. I think they're also stress testing over the course of this period. So, but I don't know if it's dedicated servers or not, actually.
I probably won't get in until day after tomorrow, but not even tomorrow, like day after tomorrow, but that's okay.
It's only like a 4 gig download. So
it's quick. It's just got other stuff going on. I'm interested. Like, I had no idea this was a thing until you started talking about it. I was like, drag, okay. But
I forgot about it.
It's playing some weird shit again.
Yeah.
I forgot about it, and then I remembered it last month, and I missed the playtest that they had last month. And then I requested access last month and forgot about it again. And then I got an email that was like, you have access to this playtest, and got excited. I'll be interested to try with controller too. I got a wireless mouse this week, which has been good for this game, because there's a lot of moving my mouse all the way across my huge mouse pad and back because of the way that the turning works, but it hasn't been bad. It's been fun to whip my mouse around. So
I whip my mouse back and forth.
Yeah, but without a wireless one, I would be displeased. So,
all right. Well, our next game is a bit of a surprise. I don't even know what it is.
I don't know what it is either.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's a game.
I really doubt I honestly really doubt that any of you could even guess what it is.
When I saw a surprise, I was like,
Toho.
God damn it, Alex.
Nope.
And then I realized that I did the exact same thing to Sam yesterday on Comic Book Fix and forced a surprise on him. So I can't actually be mad.
So I played a game that is really hard to find legally right now. And the only reason...
No one lives forever.
I wish that would have been good. But the only reason I did is because I was able to track down my old CD copy and get my CD key and load it in compatibility mode.
Diablo 2.
Pat is making quotes here.
I believe you. I believe that you did this legally.
Yeah, I actually did it legally as well as its expansion pack. And that is the 2000 Raven Classic Star Trek Voyager Elite Force.
Oh, that game's cool.
That game fucking holds up, dude.
Yeah.
It's a really decent game. I don't know if any of y'all have played it before, but I played through the campaign. I played through the main campaign. It's only like 6 or 7 hours. And played a bunch of the multiplayer where there's still servers going on.
That's funny.
Like there's
that
still
I would not have
people.
guessed.
There's still people playing it. People are still playing custom maps and stuff like that. Like I went in there. They weren't bots. They were humans.
Is this an RTS game? What kind of game is
FPS.
this?
No, it's
FPS. Okay.
It's basically Quake 3, but it has a full campaign. So it's a first-person shooter. And like,
you said Star Trek?
Yeah, Star Trek Voyager Elite Force, and it has like all of the main cast as voice actors from Star Trek Voyager. So
wow.
For the time, like this was 2000. Like it was pretty big, and it's like super fan servicey. Like you start in a Borg cube, and then the Borg start adapting to your phasers as Borg do. So they introduce a new weapon called the I mod, the Infinity Modulator, where it's just constantly changing phase, and like it's doing a ton of damage to Borg specifically, and like it's really cool. I gotta say that campaign is really good. Like it's not deep, like you're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. It's kind of like a Quake campaign, like Quake 2 or something, but it's just very, very, very fan servicey to Star Trek stuff in a really good way. Like you're walking, like, and especially if you get into the expansion pack where you're just able to kind of walk around Voyager, and like you can go into the holodeck, you can explore the transport room, you can explore the bridge, like you can walk around and they're fully modeled, and you can talk to some of the characters. Like you can talk to Captain Janeway, you can talk to Lieutenant Kim and all that kind of stuff. It's great. It was funny because the original release, they had all of the main cast except for Jerry Ryan, who was 7 of 9. So they had like some facsimile of her, but they added her in a patch afterwards.
That's funny. Like, I didn't know that.
So her voice came in later, but I couldn't find the patch, so I had to play without Jerry.
Oh, no.
Because I was just playing it straight from the disc. But I don't have that much to say about it because like you can't find it on GOG.
Weird that you can't, frankly.
I mean, it's licensed, so
it is licensed.
They figure that stuff out a lot of the time.
Yeah, like the thread for GOG has like 8,000 or 9,000 requests of people being like, "Oh yeah, this real bad."
I'm sure they've tried.
Yeah, probably, but man, it's a good game, and the multiplayer is really good. Like, it's got everything you want from Quake 3. Like, it has a big range of weapons. Like, its rocket launcher is the equivalent of basically a handheld photon torpedo. So like like the things that you see coming out of the ships, like it has like all the lens flare and stuff coming off of it. It's great. It's just an awesome game. I was surprised at how well it held up for being over 20 years old at this point.
My frustration with that and Star Trek games in general of the time is my favorite parts of Star Trek are not the like combat parts. Like the reason that I like Star Trek as much as I do is because it's got whole episodes where they don't fight anybody and it's all like diplomacy and talking and stuff. So I thought it was kind of unfortunate that video games, I remember even as a kid thinking this, it kind of sucked that video games weren't in a place yet where you could have like games with mechanics that weren't just point and click adventure games. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but that there wasn't a way. It was like everything was either like a space combat game or a point and click adventure game for Star Trek. And I kind of wished that there was one where you could like be a captain and fly a ship around, but also not fight all the time. But with that said, Elite Force was at least kind of breaking the mold a little bit because it was doing that FPS thing instead of like another space combat game, which is cool.
And I think the closest they ever, well, I don't want to say the closest they ever got, but the one that seemed like it got close to what you want was actually Star Trek Online.
Yeah, that's what I would. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, where they actually had full quests where you're just going around and talking to everybody and like doing diplomacy on planets.
I played Star Trek Online for about 2 years after it came out, and I would still be playing it. It's just that they moved to such a insane currency model in that game. I don't even begrudge them for going free to play and like charging insane amounts of money for stuff, or even for pay to win stuff. But the problem is now, if you log into that game in 2021, it's a nightmare of like, there's like, you can spend hundreds of dollars on specific ships, and there's like 25 different currencies depending on where you go. Each planet like has its own currency. And the UI is a complete disaster because it was originally designed to be a monthly sub MMO. So back when that game was cost a subscription fee, it was awesome. But anymore, I just can't even look at it. It's just the UI and menus are so bad, and it's just so full of garbage. But yes, that Star Trek Online definitely is the closest to the thing I want. There was a Star Trek game, I'm trying to remember, that
Away
was
Team.
like, well, it might have been Away Team. Probably
Are you
was.
thinking about the RTS where you're playing as individuals?
Yeah, I think I was thinking of Away Team. Yeah, that's one's funny. Kind of interesting, and it always reminded me in some ways of like Infinity Engine RPGs. It's more combat focused and RTS-y than those, but I liked that one too. Somebody could do a game kind of like that again, and I'd be into it for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, this game comes from a bygone era of just first-person shooter campaigns that were bombastic and like trying new stuff. Just throwing stuff at the wall to see what works, and kind of built with that Quake model or like the original Doom model, but like moved to actual 3D where you have full mouse control. So, and I think it's really good. I would recommend people play it, but it's really fucking hard to get a hold of. I think you can technically find it, and I don't think it's illegal, but like there's myabandonware.com or whatever. Like it's technically on Abandonware. But I read the comments. I didn't try it. It seemed like people were having a hell of a time getting it running on Windows 10.
Yeah, I'm very aggressively anti-piracy, and this is I would never tell someone to pirate something. It's much harder for me to be mad at people for pirating games that you can no longer purchase in a way that benefits the license holder or developer. Yeah. Like I don't necessarily see the point in tracking down a used copy on eBay and paying $100 for it.
Yeah.
When that money's just going to go to somebody who bought it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Also,
if you want to play, you should have bought it at the time, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. That's my
legal
advice.
Does have Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
They've got Star Trek games, so I guess I don't know why they would.
Starfleet Academy is okay.
It's
they don't want to pay the $100 to someone on eBay to get the code.
Oh, I opened GOG, and the first thing was the Nioh and Falcom 40th anniversary sale. So I'm going to click that instead.
But one last thing I'll say about Star Trek Voyager Elite Force, its soundtrack is really good. Like it's really fucking good. I don't know if it's by the original show's composer or what, but it's all unique music that sounds like it could just straight up be from a Star Trek show, and it's great. It's excellent.
Nice.
Anyways,
there you go.
It's a good game. Y'all should play it if you can.
Only the hottest and newest games on this episode of the podcast.
Hey, I wasn't about to talk about Final Fantasy for another hour, so.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you about Fortnite. I played a hell of a lot of Fortnite this week.
Nope.
I won 2 games of Fortnite this week.
Fortnite. That's 2 weeks to Nioh 2. This is the second year that Nioh 2 has been out.
Yeah. We about to get down with Nioh 2.
I mean, it's also technically the second year that Fortnite's been out. So
what about Tomato Town?
I've been rampaging through Tomato Town, killing all the yokai, at least 10 of them.
Oh man.
You have heard more than 4 seconds. If you knew that line.
I've just seen the memes. I've heard people I've not listened to more than 4 seconds of that song, but I see people talking about it.
Of Chug Jug, you mean?
It's called Chug Jug with you. Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry.
They have not paid for placement on this podcast.
I'm not gonna charge that child. I'm not gonna take that child's money.
How much money they're gonna have? They 100%.
That's true.
Making the neck. Anyway, Nioh 2.
Falcon sales only on GOG. It's not on Steam.
Elite Force 2 wasn't as good. Anyways,
and that's gonna do it for this episode of the.
But what about another sequel, Andre?
What was that? Sorry.
What about this other sequel? This other number 2? Is it a big old number 2 or is it a good number 2?
No, it's Nioh 2 is good. It came out last year and I played a little bit. Then it's like real tough, so I didn't get super far. And then they were like, hey, we're gonna do a remaster or like a patch for the PS5, and if you own the game you just get the patch. So I was like, well, I have a PS5, I have Nioh 2, I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls recently. So I was like, I should get back to that because it was good. I just was not in the right mindset for Nioh at the time. And so now coming off of Demon Souls, Dark Souls 3, and a little bit of Dark Souls 2, I was like, oh, okay, no, I'm more able to do this now, even though it still is hard as hell. You can just get wrecked by single enemies at any time, which is really something. But yeah, so Nioh 2 is it Team Ninja? Is that what it is? Ninja Theory?
I think it's Team Ninja.
I can never remember which one's which. Yes, Team Ninja. It's Team Ninja. It's a more actiony Souls-like game, based on samurai and demons, yokai. Takes place in the 1500s. This game, Nioh 2 specifically, takes place around the time Nobunaga was rising to power. He is a central character to the story. And so you were kind of getting in his good graces and fighting some battles with him, for him, all that kind of stuff. That's the second chapter kind of the game, is where you meet him and that stuff starts happening. I'm almost done with the second chapter, but I gotta get some more stuff done. This game's apparently 70 to 80 hours long if you do all the side stuff.
I've heard even longer before.
So if you do all the side stuff, it's 100 plus. But if you're if you're just doing things that pop up on your map as they kind of come, then it's 80. Gotcha. If you're not, but because there are extra side missions and stuff that pop up later and more difficult versions. I don't got time for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of the thing that sets it apart from Dark Souls. Like I said, it's more action focused. It's much quicker. You've got 3 stances. You've got the high stance, the medium, the mid stance, and the low stance, and those all do different things. You're switching between them in mid combo as you unlock abilities. You're at the end of a combo, if you hit triangle, then you'll transfer into high stance at the end, and then you'll do things. Then from there, if you combo, you can transfer into a low stance, and so you can attack quickly in low stance. You've got the mid stance is kind of high damage or mid damage, mid speed, and then slow and high damage. And then on top of that, you've got kind of an active reload type situation going with your stamina meter, where as you attack, like your stamina goes down, and then when you stop, it'll start to fill up, and then if it gets to the top, you hit R1, and then you'll like get it back. It won't go all the way back up, like you do like lose some. But so if you're really on top of your shit, you can combo, fill up, combo again, fill up, combo again, and then get like 4 combos off before you're out of stamina. And then you're using that to like you can get abilities tied to that. So like the sword can possibly are there abilities tied to that? No, you're using key to do a different ability. That's a different thing. But yeah, so like that stuff is all like super key to being successful. So this game asks a lot of you to like just be really on top of your combat and like paying attention to what you're doing.
How's the ramp? Like the difficulty ramp? Does it start you generously, or is it just like immediately fucking you?
It like there are definitely like skill check moments. Like, or just like, we're gonna just throw like a tough enemy at you right here, and you could run past it and like open a shortcut or something a lot of the time, but I'm like trying to kill these yokai because I need to get good, as it were. And so the first level, like it starts pretty like, I'd say like generally they're reasonable. It's just you run into like specific moments where like fighting in this like narrow space is difficult. Or like I had the last time I died earlier today was I was like running up this ramp on like on a cliff, and then this yokai came out to like fight me, but then it just like, instead of fighting me, it just like it was flying, and it just flew into me and pushed me off the cliff. And I was like, are you kidding me? This is garbage.
Great. It just bounced into you.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh my God. And it felt very deliberate. Like it knew what it was doing. I'm just going to push you off in my like walk animation. It's like, oh my God.
That's so good.
But yeah, so there are like tons of different weapons. Like you've got like katana, obviously. You've got like dual katanas.
There's 2 katanas in this game.
So you've got there are multiple katanas. You've got a single katana. You can do dual katanas.
Yeah, how many Melinas are there?
Sub-Zero?
There's probably a Sub-Zero lookalike, and yeah.
Someone says get over here.
The guy, kind of your main friend, is in like a yellow kind of like ninja like situation, so he's kind of like Scorpion.
There you go. So you're Sub-Zero.
You could be if you want. Like, there's no ice magic though. There's water magic. Fire, lightning.
They didn't want to get sued.
Hey, there's lightning. Hey, okay. I know who that is.
Lightning returns in this game.
Oh God. Don't speak that into existence.
Oh man, but what if there was?
Oh, it's
like
on PC now, so you could put lightning in this game.
Is there triple triad?
No.
You know what?
This game's garbage.
Lightning's a great character, even if Final Fantasy 13 isn't very good. So it'd be great if she showed up in more games.
Is Nioh 2 very good though?
I'm enjoying it. I think they made some interesting changes to the combat, because one of the main changes to the combat for this one is you can be like transform into a yokai like in combat. Like you're a shiftling, so you're like half yokai, half human, and so that you've got like different kinds of yokai you can be, and that's determined by your spirit guardian, which you can change. So you can have like a lightning spirit guardian, or like I've got the snake right now that lets me, and if I get my skills up to a certain level, then it like lets me do more poison, like build up more poison with my attacks if that's what I want to do. And then I can summon a different snake, and then that snake does a lot of damage to enemies that are poisoned. So I've got a lot of incentive to poison my enemies.
Hell yeah.
That stuff is all pretty cool.
Like, is it like you're throwing darts at them that are poisoned, or are you farting around them?
There are different ways. Like I've got an ability that lets me like use like a yokai soul to throw some poison out. I've got some like poison I can apply to my weapons. stuff like that. So there are multiple ways you can go about that. And like I could get some poison shuriken if I wanted, or like probably some poison magic. Not sure. I haven't gone into magic that far. But playing this did have me go like, I wonder what a Nioh speed run looks like.
Oh
boy,
those have got to be bonkers.
It's like it's a lot of like running past everything. It's sure. Not like because these the levels are like discrete, so you're just going from like your match. Basically, you're going into a level from a menu, and basically you're just running past everything to the boss, maybe picking up some stuff on the way, and then they like magic is like super overpowered if you get good at it. And so they just like do like some spells and then the boss is dead. And I'm like, what just happened? I don't understand. So yeah, that's cool, it's neat. And it incentivizes you to like go into lots of different stats depending on the weapons you're using. Because like different stat, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to put up my strength and then I'll like do a lot of damage. It's because each stat will impact like a different weapon. It's like, oh, skill gets me up with like a hand cannon and like maybe like a spear or something. And then like strength is like, no, dexterity.
Oh.
Dexterity.
Oh no.
Dexterity. That
sounds like a stat you would find in Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah, sure. One of these new Steam games.
These newfangled Steam games.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can have like, oh, strength is for the Odachi, which is like the giant katana, or like stuff like that. So you're like, you're having to like really think about where you can't just be like, oh well, I wanna have a lot of health, because maybe health isn't like, I think the health one is like spear, and so maybe you don't want to use a spear, so you've got to like put points into other things as well that aren't just like your stamina and your health, which is neat. And they do a good job of tying lots of different aspects of your character growth and like skills, like armor skills are tied to different like different skill levels and stuff like that. So it's cool.
Very cool.
There's a lot going on.
Sounds awesome.
Recommend it. I would say you could just jump into Nioh 2. Like,
that's what I hear.
There's more going on combat wise, but they're very similar. Like there's not, and the story, as far as I have seen, is not connected at all to Nioh 1. So I would say just play Nioh 2. Nioh 1's a good game, but like if you're gonna buy, I'd say buy one of them and buy Nioh 2. But I've yet to like get super far into the game. I have no idea how far I actually am. Let's look up a walkthrough.
Just chapter title kind of thing.
Just like how many.
Watch out! It might spoil that you go to Orlando.
Orlando?
Oh, interesting. So okay, so I'm like 2/3 of the way through. Like that doesn't seem right. The recommended level stuff is not what, I don't know. So I guess maybe I'm not actually that far off. There's not a ton of like main missions, but then there's lots of side stuff to do. And then I assume there's probably, I don't know. Like I said, this game, if you do like a lot of the stuff, is like main plus extras according to how long to beat is like 80 hours. And that's how long it took me to beat, or mostly beat, Nioh 1, except because the last level, but there's like an epilogue, and I didn't beat the epilogue. I was like, wait, what? There's more?
Yeah, that's interesting though.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Definitely cool. Yeah. And good on them for making it the remaster free for people who own the game.
So, question, Andre.
Yeah.
If the next Fable is like Nioh, would that be like your dream game?
That would be weird.
Right?
That'd be interesting.
Are you saying if the next Fable is a Souls game?
Yeah, like if it's that kind of heavy combat, that kind of just like, this style of thing, but with like Fable humor.
I mean, I'd want like the more RPG, like the Fable humor, like I have to like go back and play Lost Chapters again, but like the story and like all that stuff, like the towns and I think you could do like a more like good, more detailed combat in a Fable game. I think that'd be fine. But also I think they want to do, I guess you could just do like a difficulty thing and it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah,
it'd be fine. I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah. I feel like Fable's hook is more the like branching, the way they do player choice and branching like world states and narrative and stuff. That was always what drew me to it, is more like it actually did have a unique take on that. It maybe wasn't it didn't live up to its ambition necessarily at any point compared to what Molyneux wanted to do, but it still was very interesting, and no one has really done anything like that since, which I think is why I'm excited about a new Fable. Less the humor. I mean, the humor is fine. It's not off-putting enough to make me not want to play it. But I don't
can chase.
Yeah, I don't love it. Actually, my partner would fucking love the accents in Fable. I should play Fable. I love Fable, so I should play it again. I never played 3. I never finished 2, never played 3.
Maybe that'll be my spring break activities, replay Fable.
I should do that too.
I've got the anniversary version, so
it'll make Sam really angry if I play Fable also. Because he's like, please, for the love of God, play the rest of the Yeast games and play Trails. And I keep putting stuff in front of it. It's very funny to me.
That is very funny.
Whatever, it's this payback for bringing the fucking Fortnite chug jug with you into my life. It's the most awful. It's one of the most awful things any close friend has ever done to me.
Debt that can never be
hateful.
Yes, it's violence.
Well, speaking of violence, let's chug jug into the news. Kill these stories in Tomato Town.
Just wipe out these stories in Tomato Town.
Sure, wipe out the stories. Like the way these European Rust servers were wiped out in this fire.
Wow.
I was gonna say Tomato Town doesn't even exist anymore.
Nobody got hurt in this fire, right? No. Okay. It's like a data center got lit on fire. What happened?
Yeah, so it was in France, and apparently just everything about Rust is hosted for Europe, at least, is hosted on these specific servers. And then there was a fire in the data center, and yeah, it just totally wiped everything out.
Damn.
Which sucks, but also it could have happened to a worse game, because Rust routinely wipes their servers anyways.
Yeah.
So frankly, in terms of gameplay relevance, it actually was rather fortuitous that it was Rust.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
But it's just a bizarre situation where suddenly no one in Europe. I don't know if it's rectified since. I haven't looked, honestly, but like no one in Europe could play Rust, at least on the
official servers,
official Rust servers. Yeah, private servers, whatever. But
that's wild.
I haven't heard of that happening before. It's
one of my crazy colleagues. I mentioned I was playing a lot of Fortnite to them, and they were like, "Do you ever play Rust?" And I was like,
"Yeah, same thing.
I would play Rust if you would like to play Rust."
Get those dongs swinging.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's Age of Conan. That's Age of Conan Exiles. Conan Exiles has the dong slider.
Yeah.
One of my favorite gifs of all time is one that I wouldn't inflict on anyone, but it's in one of my chats. It's used all the time of someone in Age of Conan crouching, their dong flopping around. It's so funny. Keep saying Age of Conan Exiles.
That sounds beautiful.
It's something.
Was it only like the Rust servers of this data center? Was someone like pissed at Rust and like, "Argh!" Or like,
I didn't see if it was malicious.
Did someone break in, try to steal something? Like, what have we got? Is this like viral marketing for the IO Hitman game or the IO James Bond game?
Maybe it's viral marketing for Rust. You never know.
Yeah, getting it back in people's mouths because no one talks about Rust anymore.
CD Projekt Red trying to find the data that was stolen.
People still play a lot of Rust. It's still like,
yeah,
it's recent reviews of the 18,000 reviews recently given on Steam. 92% are positive. So people still play and love Rust.
I wonder how much. How
last 30 days.
Recent.
Last 30 days.
Fuck.
Yep.
Okay.
18,000 92% positive reviews in the last 30 days. So Rust is aging gracefully.
That's great. But yeah, I'm thumbing through some news articles. I'm not seeing about other things at that data center that might have been affected. At least nothing that I can.
Whoa. Rust has a 69 on Metacritic. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. That's that they hit it. They hit the score. No, we don't need any more video games.
All right. Well, too bad, Pat. We may not need any more video games, but you're getting more video games on Game Pass as 20 Bethesda games join Game Pass because the Zenimax Microsoft deal has finally closed. Zenimax and all its children studios, it's all its subsidiaries.
Todd and all of his children
are now part of
all of Todd and Pete's children.
Oh my God.
Part of Microsoft now.
Dark Spawn.
Todd and Pete were adopted by Phil Spencer.
Oh man, I would. That's great. I would love to.
And then Shinji Mikami was adopted. It's a lot of paperwork. It took a long time to get all these filings done. Now adult COD can call Phil Spencer daddy.
Oh God.
Jesus Christ.
It's finally what we've all been waiting for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we were waiting on the EU to approve the deal, which finally happened.
A bunch of people messaged me and were like, Microsoft owns Bethesda now. And I was like, where were you like 8 months ago?
Yeah, it's not new news, but now it's definitely official. So yeah, you got Zenimax, you got id, you got Bethesda Game Studios, you got Arcane,
Machine Games,
Tango Gameworks.
Yep.
That's
Tango.
their first Japanese owned studio.
That's interesting. And then whoever else, but like that's a bunch of really big studios, and now they're officially part of Microsoft. And the stuff they added to Game Pass is good. Sorry, Pat, go for it.
Wasn't there a whole thing with Microsoft wanting to add a Japanese studio to their portfolio?
This is the only way they could do it.
Wouldn't it be funny if this whole thing was just a roundabout way to get a Japanese studio?
They shutter Arcane.
They $7.3 billion, and
they shutter Arcane. They shutter Machine Games, Bethesda Games.
Everyone has to move to Japan to work at Tango Gameworks.
Shinji Mikami is running Microsoft Japan, Xbox Japan.
They just changed it to Xbox Japan.
Damn. Is Machine Games still making that Indiana Jones thing? That was
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that was announced recently. So that's kind of the interesting thing is, like, we were talking about it when it was first announced, but like the exclusivity stuff and what is that gonna look like for mostly for games that are in development or like that are like coming out soonish, like because they talked about like Bethesda games are going to be everywhere that Game Pass is, and they're going to be like doing exclusives and like maybe case by case basis doing non like multi-platform stuff. But and like when this first was coming around, I was like, there's no reason for them to make these multi-platform, because why wouldn't they just make Halo, Gears, all their stuff multi-platform in that case, and just say, hey, if you're paying $60-$70 for it on PlayStation, why don't you just get an Xbox and play it there for $10 a month or whatever. But for stuff like Starfield, which has been in development for a while, we don't know when it's coming out, optimistically I think next year, Some people think it's much sooner. You're out of your mind. Some people think longer, like Pat, you're thinking like 2 years out.
I could see next year or 2 years. I think it's 50-50.
But yeah, so I'm kind of in the boat of like, if they've put development resources into this, into like a Starfield PS5, then like it would make sense to me to put it out on PS5.
Yeah. I think I said this probably when we first started talking about this, like what, six months ago. Was that when it was?
Yeah, something like that.
3 to 6 months, somewhere in there. It's like I don't see those big games being exclusive.
I absolutely think Elder Scrolls 6 will be.
Yeah.
But I think
it's not a game yet.
Yeah, it's a twinkle in adult Todd's eyes. I think.
So, sorry, I was just thinking of who put the twinkle there, and it's
Phil Spencer.
Phil Spencer.
God, I don't want to. We got.
There's some fan fiction. Anyways,
no, I don't want to write that. Anyway, real people, not
Flash Gaming Fyx.
I think Starfield will come out on multiple platforms because I think they paid for the dev kits and they've probably already put some amount of resources into speccing for a PS5. And the other reason is if they've already put some money and resources into it, and I just don't see people. I really think that Elder Scrolls, we talked about this a little bit privately, but I think Elder Scrolls is a big enough name that people will go, well, shit, to play the sequel to Skyrim, I have to buy an Xbox, and they'll do it. I don't know, based on what we've seen of Starfield, that they're going to be able to market that game in such a way that convinces people to do that. And I think putting it out on PlayStation means, PlayStation 5 has kind of a slim lineup. I think it'll still have kind of a slim lineup in a year. It'll be better, but there's not going to be a ton of huge blockbusters, and the huge blockbusters that exist. I mean, Ratchet's probably a 20-hour game. Horizon Zero Dawn's probably a 30-hour game. God of War, when that comes out, it's going to be 25, 30 hours. So a big, like, ostensibly, if Starfield is a Bethesda style RPG, a big, huge open world RPG could move a lot of units on PS5. And so I think it makes financial sense and it makes development sense to put that game out on PS5. And then when Starfield 2 comes around in 25 years, that is on Microsoft's Vapor Box or whatever we're playing on then, and it will not be on anything else, because I do think they're going to move to making as much stuff as they can exclusive going forward. I think when they kind of are coy about it, I think it's because something like an Indiana Jones game, actually forgot about that game. It's very possible when they signed that deal, that part of the deal was it's coming to multiple platforms. Yeah. So that's something that I think is a lot of people don't think about. Right. I mean, Deathloop, they had marketing.
The deal was in place.
And I assume I don't know, like how much like Bethesda must be involved in those deals because they publish those games, and they're the parent company of like Machine Games and
I mean technically Zenimax is probably the one making those deals. But
either way,
basically they're the same company. Really,
they're the people making the Microsoft.
Pete Hines gets a vote in those conversations.
But what I mean is like the people making the deal to sell to Microsoft are also the same people who are probably overseeing the business deals that are for exclusivity. And then so where that falls in, and like legally they weren't supposed to be discussing like business things and like plans until the deal happened. That doesn't mean like they weren't like looking at things going, okay, what do we need to think about for this stuff, and like, who do we need to contact for contingencies? Do we need to talk to who owns Indiana Jones? Like, is it Disney? Does Disney own Indiana
They do
Jones?
now.
Yeah, they would, because they own Lucas.
So like and would Disney be like, oh yeah, just put it on the Xbox, the system that is not sold very many so far?
Comparatively.
And I mean, I guess the thing I think a lot of people don't think about is though a lot of those deals are inked so far in advance and you don't even know about them, it's possible they signed some kind of Sony marketing deal or even console exclusivity deal for Starfield that has already been in place for 6 months, and or probably would have to be for longer, obviously, because of the Microsoft thing. It's just hard to know where all of those pieces fit together. So I guess I would say I suspect that Starfield will come to the PS5, but bigger than that, it's impossible really to speculate on the exclusivity of anything that's far along in development at this point, because we just don't know what kind of deals have already been signed for those projects versus in games coming in the further future. I'm sure that they will be exclusive. I agree. I don't think there's any reason for them to put The Elder Scrolls 6 out on PS5. I just don't see a reason why that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I can see a reason, and that is money, because they will probably get more income if they put it on more platforms. But at the same time, I don't know if they're obliged to. Like, it's totally up to Microsoft at this point.
I certainly think if they think they can make more money by doing that, they would, because their only reason to exist is to make money, frankly. Sure. I mean, from the perspective of the shareholders, obviously, I don't feel that way. But but I think in the end, that's such a huge name franchise. Yeah. And at that point, you'll be able to play Game Pass on any phone. So
but are they gonna give up the ability to re-release Elder Scrolls 6 on every platform possible? Like Elder Scrolls 6 on the GameCube, are they going to give up that dream?
I also wonder at what point does Sony say, you know what, keep your Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, like, they want money too, so it seems unlikely to me that they would do that. But I do kind of wonder if there's a point at which Sony takes the reins a little bit on some of this stuff and is like, we're not going to play. I mean, obviously they're not going to block it entirely, but a sort of like, we're not interested in playing ball, so you get this split and it sucks. Or something.
I could totally see Sony doing that. I don't, and that's bad for everybody.
Totally. This whole thing is bad for everybody. No, really.
Yeah. I mean,
other than the people maybe at Bethesda themselves. I mean, I bet that it was a pretty good deal for a lot of them. Yeah. And good for them. And I have mixed feelings about the whole thing, right? Because I think it's a good fit in a lot of ways, but its exclusives are bad. Studios buying them up are bad.
Yeah, like it's big companies like Embracer Group, Sony, Tencent, Microsoft, Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't really do this though. Like buying up like big studios, publishers, and like consolidating IP under a few handful of companies.
It sucks.
It sucks. It's bad. It's the same thing that's happening with like Disney buying up, Lucasfilm, Marvel, and like that like happened, like the Marvel thing, like save Marvel, like that's okay, but then like buying up Fox is like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
and it sucks.
Who let that happen? Are you kidding me?
At the very least, with that kind of consolidation, which still sucks, Disney Plus runs on everything, so not necessarily in every territory. That's an issue, but like, when they have rolled it out across the world, anyone who can afford to watch movies can probably afford to watch Disney Plus. Whereas with games, the reason that I think it's like even worse for the consumer is now you would have to spend a lot of money to be able to play. I mean, I assume you'll have to spend a lot of money to be able to play Elder Scrolls 6 on your TV versus if you have a PS5 and could just buy a used copy 6 months after it comes out or something.
You'll pay a little bit of money to just stream it to your phone.
But that's not the same experience. That's why I say to your TV. No. Like that's not how I'm never going to play Elder Scrolls 6 streamed to my phone as like a core experience.
Like does Elder Scrolls 6 come to Stadia? Like that's
no, because Stadia will not be functioning by the time.
That's why I think it will be. It'll come to Steam though. Microsoft puts their games out on Steam, so
yeah. So I do have two thoughts on this. The first is when it comes to exclusivity, and like specifically with PlayStation, because I imagine there's a lot of casual's the wrong word, but people who play games but don't follow the news cycle, like who this isn't even on their radar right now.
Totally. I
And
mean,
they're
like
gonna
I
see,
said,
the new,
tons of people came to me to say it.
Yeah, like the new Elder Scrolls game is coming out. Like I see it's coming out in like 6 months or whatever. Like it gets announced whenever, and then they're like, oh, but why is it not coming to my PlayStation? Like I got this box. I know, like I play. Why can't I play this game? Like like I imagine that mentality will be there for a significant portion of the audience because like Oblivion and Skyrim were just huge games on all the platforms they were on that all the people owned,
Oblivion was only on 360 and PC.
Yeah, didn't come to PlayStation.
That's true. But like people,
it was a big game, though.
Like it was a big game, and it was a launch.
Huge.
It was a launch title, right?
It wasn't launch, but it was early 360.
Yeah. It was like one of the first games that people.
It's the first game I ever pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying pre-orders are good, but
So like I imagine for those people who don't follow the industry, they would be confused by exclusivity, and like I don't know how they react, but that's my first thought. My second thought, okay, so in our Phil Spencer cross like just whatever fanfic we want to do, Pete Hines, if we want to do some Todd Howard, how have we not made a podcast called Fanfics?
Because I don't like fan fiction.
Like we can just make or read fan fictions, and then that naturally leads us to OnlyFan.
Oh no, you should make an OnlyFans is what I'm hearing.
$10 a month.
Not tied to the podcast. It's not
pictures of me.
Okay.
On my couch.
What you're saying?
Nioh 2.
So Pat, to be clear, what you're saying is
don't offer that to people.
Hey,
Pat,
they'll be tasteful. They're not like full frontal, but like
What I'm hearing from both of you at this point is that I should be registering Cool Slaw on OnlyFans.
Don't do that. No, you should register Frank on OnlyFans.
Yeah, Frank T Cat. Anyways.
No, I think to your first point, unfortunately, the reaction, and I don't think this is good, and I may not have said this a while, like 2 years ago, but I think the reaction that most people who go, oh, I can't play Elder Scrolls 6 on my PlayStation is to go, guess I got to buy one of those Xboxes.
Yeah.
I really think that's a significant portion of those people's response.
Probably.
And that sucks because you shouldn't have to do that. And that's just giving Phil what he wants. Damn it. Yeah. But
I still think a nice solution, which is something we suggested probably a year ago, is and it seemed like it was rumored too, was if Game Pass came to like Switch through streaming on xCloud or whatever.
Let me tell you, I want to play Elder Scrolls 6 streamed to my Switch even less than I want to play it on my phone.
Touche.
What if it was a Switch Pro?
Nope. Still no. But I think it's also very hard to speculate about a game like Elder Scrolls 6 in particular, because that game is like 4 to 5 years off.
Oh, that game is 6 years out.
That's optimistic. Yeah.
I don't know if I think it's 6 years. I think if it's 6 years out at that point, it's like it may never come out if it's 6 years out.
Beamed into our brains by that point.
Yeah, but I think it's at least 4 to 5 years out, we'll say, and it's just how hard to know what the landscape of all of this stuff is going to. In 4 to 5 years, like Microsoft could say, okay, the Xbox division is no longer making hardware. Game Pass is only on PlayStation and PC. Like we have no idea what it's going to look like by that time.
But they could. I mean, it'd be weird if Microsoft was like out of hardware and
no, I agree. I'm not predicting that.
No, yeah, just I'm thinking like what that future would be like, where Microsoft's like, Xbox, we're done making Xboxes. Xbox is a brand, and all we do is make games.
It would be awesome, because then the only console you would need to buy is a PlayStation. I mean, not that I want PlayStation to win anything. I don't do that, but it would be great if.
Yeah, once Disney buys Microsoft and Apple and Google and Nintendo, we'll be fine.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I don't think that it would be good for there to be one console.
And Embracer Group buys Ubisoft.
But at the same time, I think it might be good for there to be if you could just get one box to play. What I really want is a future where video games are like movies, where there's 40 different companies making video game players, but it's just different configurations of PC that you can put on your entertainment center, and then
also
play whatever
D-Box.
game you want.
Hell yeah,
D-Box.
give me D-Box in my house. Give me it.
You can get that already.
You can. It's very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, not for any reasonable price. Last thing I want to say on this is fucking stop fantasy booking. Companies buying more publishers and studios.
Yep.
Please,
totally.
for the love of God.
I've definitely participated in the past, and it's so bad. Like, it's just don't
like
companies.
I swear to
getting
God,
bought sucks.
If nobody should buy Sega, nobody should buy EA, nobody should buy Capcom. Like, they should work independently and do this stuff. Like, if they want to sign exclusive deals, that's fine. I don't care about that. Like, business is business. Do not cheer on acquisitions and consolidation of IP and talent. It's bad.
Yeah, it's almost a form, like, joking aside, it is almost a form of fan fiction of like, hey, it's this company cross this company. Wow, wouldn't that be a cool thing that they could make? But like, in reality, I mean, as someone who works for a company who has been acquired, that's not how it works in reality.
I mean, do you already look at like companies like companies like Konami, which they're their own thing, but they're already sitting on their own IP, not doing anything with it. Like, so you're just asking for, if something were to happen with Microsoft, they're like, games is not working out. And then they just like, we've got all this IP and we're just going to sit on it forever. And, a bunch of people lose their jobs because it's people at the top were like, nah,
it's not good. And I
saw it happen with Google. Like,
I would piggyback on it and say, like, if you're somebody who wants to like go at anyone over this stuff, like I saw some tweets when I clicked into the trending that was like, you stupid Xbox fans, they're going to put stuff on PS5 because that's what I read into this statement. It's just like, give it up. Stop. Brand loyalty is not a personality trait. like please stop.
And nicely, Phil Spencer has been one of the people kind of advocating for that. He's been kind of like, we like everything. And like that's kind of bubbled down from him into like their social media, and like they're like, we're supporting like Nintendo sick release on this game that came out kind of stuff. But fanboy's gonna fanboy.
I think some of that brand Twitter stuff is like, if Microsoft was really committed to bringing the best consumer friendly solutions to gamers, they would have said, as soon as the Bethesda thing went through, oh, no, we're putting Bethesda games on everything, and we're going to start rolling out all of our titles across everything. Like, Phil Spencer can pay all the lip service he wants. And to be clear, I think Phil Spencer's a really cool guy, and please hire me, Phil. But at the same time, it's like, let's be real. A lot of that stuff is kind of lip servicey to a degree too. So, but certainly, the tone from Microsoft's marketing is not for you to become like a fanboy who like attacks Sony. The fact that there are Sony fans and Microsoft fans is like, come on.
I mean, I'm a fan of Sony and their hardware. I've got Sony headphones here. I got a Sony soundbar out there. I got a PlayStation. Like, I like the product Sony produces, but also like, fuck off. I don't care about like, I'm not like, oh, Microsoft can't, they can't beat Sony. Well,
just like,
I like Sony's products, but who cares?
It's what you were alluding to before, though, Pat, where if you have the Air console, the single console owned by one thing, and like that's all that's available, there's no competition. Like, the fact that Microsoft is making all these moves and they're doing stuff is because Sony was so far ahead. And I think that's ultimately for the best, because that competition is just making the whole landscape more interesting and more diverse in a lot of ways.
I think there's a lot to be said for if we just had a totally different system of economics that wasn't built around trying to put other companies out of business, we'd be better off as a society. But I hear what you're saying.
Totally speculative. Like, I agree, but like in the reality that we live in and as things exist in today, it's probably for the best as it is.
But I just think that exclusive, I don't agree with the notion that like oh, Microsoft buying Bethesda is going to make Sony try harder. I don't think that's.
No.
I think
Sony's going to keep doing what they've always done.
They're still making a shitload of money. Like they don't give a shit what Microsoft is doing.
Nintendo's just going to keep fucking running into walls until stuff works, and it'll work.
God,
I mean, Nintendo makes bucket,
they do
like dump trucks full of money, so
they
they're
don't
fine.
They don't give a fuck about what else is happening in the industry.
None of these companies give a fuck about you or what's going on because they make shitloads of money. So
Nintendo, there was like Mario Day was this week, and they put a bunch of games with Mario on sale on the Switch. They put like 3 games or something on sale for $39. The rest were on sale for $40. And I'm like, you couldn't just do them all like $39? We're like, all like you had to get that extra $1 out of people. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's funny.
I think that they, the thing that sometimes people forget is, it doesn't matter if Microsoft has an incredible portfolio of original IP to Sony when Sony can just put out a Spider-Man game and outsell all of Microsoft's games combined. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but like with what Microsoft is putting out right now. Yeah, it's not gonna Sony. There's no Sony executive who's like, fuck, we're not gonna get Elder Scrolls 6. They're saying like, whatever, we've got a war and Last of Us and Spider-Man and like they still don't have Cyberpunk on the PlayStation Store. Like they don't
seem to be in a rush.
And like, you know, granted that game had a lot of bad press, so like I think hype around it died off for sure. They made their money on that, and then they lost their money when people were like, fine, we've got to give refunds. But they didn't lose a significant amount of money on that, but still like, you know, they're not feeling any pressure to like, you know, make any like desperate money moves or anything. It seems like they're having a really good launch to the PS5 in spite of the fact that there's not enough software. It's like the fastest selling hardware platform in US history according to PD Group. Like, so I guess that's why I am very hesitant to agree with the notion that I agree on principle, and certainly that with what you're saying, Alex, that like Microsoft is doing all this because they're kind of in the back seat, but I don't think there's anything they can do to push Sony and make Sony, like this notion of Sony offering a Game Pass competitor. It's never going to happen. They don't have to. There's nothing there there's no reason for them to do it because people buy $70 games from them. I mean, I fucking bought a $70 copy of Miles Morales because I was like, well, at some point I'm going to want to play Spider-Man remastered. Like, and I'm one of the people who's more unwilling to put up with that kind of bullshit. Like there's no like the fantasy of like crossplay being like universal and stuff like that. It's not going to happen because Sony doesn't have to budge on any of it. And they won't have to budge on any of it because they made a really good console this time out. And so I will say I could see this like current regime like fucking it up and like losing all that goodwill. PlayStation easily. 5 is like a solid system, but I like a lot of that stuff was done before like, you know, Jim Ryan kind of took over. Yeah. And so I like, you know, Hellman Hurst is the guy who's the guy
from
who's
Gorilla,
the guy who's now Worldwide Studios. Right. Like he seems like a good guy, and like I think he's probably doing a good job over there. It'll be a while before we like see the fruits of that because of Corona and stuff, but like it wouldn't surprise me if we end up with like another super hubristic Sony. I don't disagree. I think it would be really hard for them to fuck it up this time around because they already have they fucked up the PS2, or you know, they fucked up the PS3. Like post PS2, like they fucked up the popular coming off. But I guess the thing about the Sony's dark age definitely was the PS3 era. Yeah. And I think they brought it back, but yeah. I think because the PS5 launched at a pretty solid price point and is really hard to get, and they have the cover of COVID, I don't think that they necessarily have anything to worry about. I think it'd be pretty hard for them to
run it into the ground.
I'm just worried about them going the way of like Microsoft, like end of the 360 era. That's kind of the worry, where they're just like, fuck it, no more games.
Yeah,
which isn't really Sony style, but
yeah, I don't worry. I'm not too worried about it.
Bring back Jack Tretton.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Sony's kind of in the driver's seat, and I still maintain, it's something we've talked about, Alex, that Microsoft doesn't care either. Like, I think that I think that the acquisition of Bethesda is like, it's not we need to compete with Sony. It's, this makes financial sense for us to do. Sure. That's the whole reason. That's the reason they do it, is because Microsoft has a fuck ton of money and said, oh yeah, there's an opportunity here and it's going to create more value in the Game Pass portfolio. And I still think this is like it's not, I don't think of it as a conspiracy theory, but I still think that a lot of Microsoft's goals from a management perspective are to make Xbox a brand that people have warm, fuzzy feelings about more than anything, so that they go, oh, well, I'm getting a new PC. I may as well get a Windows PC because then I can access my Game Pass on it. And to say like, oh, well, I'm not thinking about the fact that this company also makes like multi-billion-dollar military hardware because I'm focused on the fact that I like my Xbox kind of stuff. Like, all around, it just behooves Microsoft to have a brand that is very consumer facing and seems very like friendly and cool. And I think that Microsoft serves that purpose, or Xbox serves that purpose more than they do like bringing in some kind of crazy return. So yeah, I don't know.
Know what else is forward-facing, friendly, and cool? Emailing us at gaming@fyx.space.
Boom.
With your thoughts on this topic, because I think
are they gonna be exclusive? They gonna be like polyamorous? They gonna be like, are Bethesda games gonna come out on the Coleco Chameleon?
Now we're talking.
In television.
If Phil Spencer and Todd Howard have a baby, what color eyes are they gonna have?
We gotta get off that.
So, is it gonna like Phil Spencer's body with like Todd Howard's head, or like
hair?
That should be the default character in Elder Scrolls 6 or in Starfield.
No matter what race you pick, it
just looks like Phil Spencer.
Or what is it? It's Khajiit it's just furry Phil Spencer.
Oh, don't furry Phil Spencer.
Words. Oh no, you created a whole new subcategory on our archive of our own.
Yeah.
All right, back to fanfics.
Codemasters, driving games.
Speaking of companies
winter testing
that were bought
this weekend.
Yeah.
Speaking of companies that were bought, Codemasters, they put ads for mental health awareness in Dirt 5, Dirt Rally, and Grid.
Yeah, which is good.
Because
I think this that was a real transition, wasn't it?
Yeah. Hey, we're all stuck inside, and people have that's rough on people. Mental health,
it is
is really hard to deal with at this time, and like putting like information out there to like get people thinking about that while playing a game or something, which can often be used as an escape.
Smart.
Yeah, like a good way to just be like, oh, I'm not like, I'm playing a game right now, but like I can look into like some resources, I guess.
And any kind of thing that pushes you in the direction of like being more aware of your own mental health, it's really hard to like direct someone, like to convince somebody else to think about their mental health and to take action for it. But when you're doing something you already do and enjoy, and you see a nudge towards thinking about your mental health, that can be a really powerful tool.
Yeah. And I think in a lot of circles, especially like, I want to like, let's say if Call of Duty did this, I think that would be even better, because then you're kind of touching at like your kind of dude bro.
I mean, that has a cultural effect too.
Yeah, but like the fact is, like,
make your reticle like the 1-800 get help.
You want to hear about some reticles? Let me tell you, Black Ops got some reticles.
They do, but
do you want a mustache? Reticle. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
But
I got
I
this
think
picture that was drawn of me from one of my students, and I
Oh,
was just
he-
like, I don't.
he's
My
holding up a
mustache is like
picture.
real strong in this
Yeah.
picture. This is far stronger than any mustache I have.
it's beautiful. But anyways,
Real
anything
great for
that
the
can,
podcast.
yeah, anything that can destigmatize mental health and actually seeking out professional consultation, I think
Yeah.
is a positive step. It would be good to see other places adopting this, especially because it is it Mental Health Awareness Month? I can't remember.
Isn't it Women's History Month or something?
I honestly don't track it, but
I haven't seen people talking about it. Mental Health Awareness Week. When's that?
I'm not sure.
May 10 to 16th of May.
So it's unrelated. Regardless, I see nothing but positive about it because I think if it promotes conversations between friend groups where they can talk about mental health, they can talk about depression, they can talk about anxiety, they can be like, man, being in isolation for over a year, huh? Boy, that really fucks with your mind, doesn't it? And being able to talk it out. And if that gets prompted because two people are playing Dirt Rally, I think that's great. Like, I think there's nothing negative about that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Next news story. Heroes on the Half Shell coming to multiple platforms.
On the half shell?
In a half shell?
I always thought it was in a half shell.
That's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes, you do have to sing it as you type it.
Heroes in a half shell. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Heroes in a half shell. Shredder's Revenge coming.
Journal of Chinese Religions. Yellow-throated hanging parrot. Campbell Shopping Complex Fire. That one doesn't work so well. Sorry. Continue.
Shredder's Revenge is coming to multiple platforms. I don't know. It looks like a Turtles in Time-esque, like side-scrolling beat 'em up, like old school, like art. Like it's got that 16-bit look.
Looks good.
Yeah,
the trailer was good.
So. My desire to play that basically stems in a 100% on if there's online co-op. Like, because
did the new
my
Streets of
girlfriend's
Rage
not going to
have
want to play. I don't know. My girlfriend's not going to want to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
No, probably not. But if Streets of Rage 4 was that last year or 2 years ago? Regardless,
Last year,
like it was very well received. So beat 'em ups can be done well in our 2020 years. So yeah, like if it had online co-op and that worked well, then yeah, totally, I can see that being super fun.
2 players online in Streets of Rage 4, 4 players couch co-op.
That sounds great.
There's no combo co-op. I see.
That sucks, but yeah, no, like it seems like a good facsimile of those old arcade games, and I play a lot of those old arcade games, so that sounds fun. Should do a Simpsons one next. That Simpsons arcade game ruled.
But they did they did a remaster of it, or like
they did. Yeah, they came on Xbox Live Arcade.
And then people went, "Oh wait, what? This game's short."
They should
hard as hell.
They should remake the Avengers arcade game.
Sure.
I don't know that one. I haven't played it.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's very much in
Moonwalker.
Moonwalker was
similar
on
style.
Genesis though.
Yeah. Oh, was it? Okay. Anyway, well, but it's not on modern consoles.
Like Star Trek Voyager Elite Force.
Yeah, not on modern consoles.
But if you haven't watched the trailer, you should watch the trailer. It's really good.
You can listen to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles song that way.
Yeah. Sing it to whatever fulfills those syllabic needs.
Chug Jug with you over the TMNT Shredder's Revenge trailer.
Chug Jug with you over the... It's
just wiped out Tomato Town.
Oh, no.
Number 1 victory royale.
Next up, everybody's favorite non-fungible tips and tricks are back.
Oh God.
Fucking
Great.
Is it Jason Rohr? I don't know. What's this guy's name? I have to find it. Rohr, the guy who made Castle Doctrine.
Wait, people are pissing him off?
No, he's the one. So Jason Rohr is taking.
Oh God! Of course he fucking is. This guy's such a piece of shit.
He debuted an NFT auction called the Crypto Doctrine. It's a Dutch auction, meaning that the prices start high and fall over time. It launched with 155 paintings that Rohr originally commissioned in 2012 for use in the Castle Doctrine.
From other people.
From other people.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
That's commissioned. And
fucking shithead.
Is selling
collectively forget
which
that
is
Jason
not,
Rohr exists.
This is not what people like. This is not the agreed upon use for these artworks when they were commissioned.
No. And there's a Kotaku article about it, and like you get interviews from people like Ashley Birch, who's she's a name, who contributed work, and she's like, I didn't even know what an NFT was, and like I made this art years ago, like that's not what I made it for. It was for like future.
Shocking to me that the guy who has disparaged like racial justice movements, denied COVID, and made a game about home defense would be a shithead about something else. Wow.
Yeah. Alex, can you give us the quick and dirty what is an NFT for people who don't know?
If you want the medium and dirty, listen to the latest Coding Fyx.
Actually, that's really good. Just go listen to that.
Yeah, like if you want that's the medium and dirty. It doesn't go too deep, but it kind of explains why it exists and like the technology behind it. But in short, it's essentially a way to have cryptography in making sure that something is unique and making sure that something is very secure. So by ensuring that secureness and all of that, they're also able to ensure authenticity. So like think of like if you had a one-of-a-kind baseball card, it is that, but the digital version of it. And that's essentially what they're doing here is they're saying this is one-of-a-kind art. If you own this, you own the one and only, and there's like a log that says, yep, this is it. This is a seal of authenticity. Like that's the short version.
I guess what I struggle with is, and I understand why, but if I make a photocopy of a baseball card, it's not going to be the same. Like it's different in quality of, and in like every way. Whereas I can copy and paste an image file.
I can screen cap.
Yeah. And I understand that the value, I understand that you can take a picture of a physical piece of art too, and that the value is in having the log or whatever. But at the same time, it's just such a like silly thing to me. It's just an avenue for speculative spending.
It's just for idiots to use money in stupid ways and tie it up and make other people, I guess, throw away their money. When you go, can I buy your tweet? Like, what?
My point is like cryptocurrency. While cryptocurrency is bad in a not blockchain, as you will talked about on that Coding Fyx, but cryptocurrency is bad too, but I do understand more like it's like you're literally selling the token itself, right? Like with cryptocurrency, there's no, it's a number in a secure wallet. You can't take a screenshot of it and then have that be anything. But what I think is odd is when like musicians talk about like, oh, I'm going to sell, big name musicians say, well, we're going to sell an album as an NFT. It's like, all I have to do is just rip that album. It's not going to, it doesn't like deter piracy in any way. It's like, basically you're just selling a physical album without the disc at that point. I don't know. It's just weird to me. I don't think, I kind of get why it's happening with a lot of art, because it's the whole speculative trading thing. Like you're saying, Andre, with people figuring out how to get people to dump money on stuff to have another stupid thing to pass around. Yeah. But I don't understand why certain kinds of artists are excited about it, I guess is what it is.
Because it's the first time in their life that someone wants to give them money for something.
No, not those kinds of art. I get that. I guess I'm saying bands like Kings of Leon, I don't understand why they look at it and go, let's make an NFT album. But it's like, they think just sell it on Bandcamp. Who cares?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And what's the difference?
I will say, I'm really happy that Beeple got his. If you saw that story.
Yeah.
Like Beeple's great. So like,
yes.
In like, he's been doing that art for basically for free for like 13 or 14 years. So the fact that he was able to release like a compilation that was like literally 5,000 days of this work that he's done and sell it and like made for a lot for literally 69 million. Nice. Like way too much. It's probably some form of money laundering, but also like there's some value in that kind of.
I think artists getting paid is great at its core, obviously. Like artists making money on their art is really great. But I just struggle. I don't know that I can say that I think it's great that anyone makes a bunch of money off of this thing, because it's tied up in so many environmental issues and financial issues and potentially criminal, like you said, money laundering sort of issues. It's just kind of like, I don't think I can celebrate it on any level.
When do you think this stuff gets regulated, and by whom?
I mean, because the thing
right now
is,
it's the Wild West right now.
They launched it people figured this out at the perfect time, because nobody's got fucking time to worry about like crypto art. There's enough problems happening right now that are so monumental that I don't know. I could see regulation happening in a year. After
they're too busy worrying about GameStop stock.
Yeah, I mean, really, what this whole thing it is kind of tied together, right? In that, all of this is showing that our financial institutions and systems are totally fucking fake and a sham and stupid and
archaic as hell.
Yeah, and they haven't grown with technology at all, and it's just like, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's the actual thing is. That's our financial markets are just going to completely evaporate because of like crypto art and Dogecoin.
Yeah.
God,
like
bring it.
Things are going to collapse real soon. Like
get us to that speaking of Star Trek, get us to that Star Trek future. If this is what gets us there.
And I guess what I worry about is
luxury gay space communism.
What I worry about is, and you know, bear with me because I don't know. I like people's art a lot. I don't know people. So I don't mean to paint them with any kind of brush, but when the financial collapse happens and it's a bunch of like VCs and artists that have been like worked who have like the millions of dollars, how is that going to affect like society's ability to recover, you know, like sustainability is important, I guess is my point. Like I think artists getting paid is obviously like, it's one of the things I would put at the top of here's why our society is fucked, is because it is so hard to survive making art when art is such a valuable piece of our culture of any kind of art. But at the same time, sustainable income for art for artists as a whole is what I think the goal should be.
100% not what any of this is
exactly about. It's in fact antithetical to that. It is all about getting a few people lots of money, and it doesn't really matter, you know. Beeple's a good artist
and stealing art, like people are literally just trying to steal art and sell it, like ridiculous.
It's the music conversation from the early 2000s of the DMCA. It's the difference in seeing value in art versus seeing value as art. Like it's changing that
Absolutely.
one article, and it's evolving, and it's not getting any better.
No, it's in fact getting worse.
It's commodified to the point where, like you said, like artists are not getting paid when they should be. So I don't know.
It's a new thing for them to toss around. It's a new toy.
It's like it's like yelling at someone, artists need to get paid, and then Jeff Bezos hands a single artist $70 million, and then like, that's not what I meant. I know Jeff Bezos didn't buy it, but
you know who did buy it? You know who did
No.
buy the Beeple one? It's like one of the
Who?
people that started one of these NFT things.
Oh,
Of
huge
course.
fucking surprise. Wow.
Yeah.
Shocker.
And
like,
I bet
How much-
can people even access his money or their money? I don't know who people is.
I don't
really, but
know.
Can
I don't
they? Because
know.
I've seen like articles where like, yeah, they can't access their money yet. It's like tied up in like other countries. And
What I
No
want
ideas.
a thought experiment for anybody who's excited about cryptocurrency or NFTs. Take a step back. How much work do you think the person who bought that Beeple art has put into improving society over the course of their career? How much of the work have they done, do you think, benefits society, and how much of it is, how can I make a shitload of money without doing anything substantial to help anyone around me?
decentralizing
No, because it doesn't do
markets.
that. It just adds
because
another.
they didn't do that. Blockchain did.
No.
I know.
So I guess that thought experiment is the core of why this stuff makes me so mad, is because like, even if I'm not like a doctor or a teacher, but I still do something that can make someone smile at the end of the day. And if your life's work is to make people smile because they make a shitload of money, like, I don't know.
I think, to boil it down to what you're saying, there's nothing altruistic about it.
No.
Like, in any sense. It's yeah.
So it sucks, and NFTs suck. I can't be convinced otherwise. Austin Walker had some really raw and reasonable stuff to say about it in general. So look at some words from people like that, I guess.
Last thing, I don't want to get too deep on this because it sounds real messy.
If we're diving on this, it's a rabbit hole.
I think it's good to call it out because it's bad, but
like
point people to the people who have been sharing.
Valorant pro scene. Basically, we're seeing some more of the kind of stuff that came out like last summer, with like people coming forward with stories of abuse and allegations of like assault and things like that, sexual assault. And so this is a pro player in the Valorant scene. I don't want to like get into many more details than that. Just like allegedly, but
allegedly,
a lot of people
with significant evidence.
people,
yeah.
like the person coming forward with like receipts and evidence, but like, allegedly, because but so the person in question has been the person in question has been suspended pending an investigation, and discourse around it just kind of sucks. People basically saying, well, where's the proof? I'm like, well, some proof was presented. You just didn't like actually pay attention.
Yeah, like there's a friend of the show, Amy. You can find her on Twitter at ATKPWR. She follows the scene far more than I do, and I had a conversation with her about this. But she has a public tweet that I can reference and I can put in the show notes. I'll clear it with her to make sure that's cool. But like, she summed it up better than I could, because she plays Valorant, she watches the scene, and like the thing that kept coming back was random internet dudes basically commenting, "Where's the proof? Is this girl just clout chasing?" Like, and that ended up becoming the central story. It moved it away from looking at the validity of a victim's statement. And like, again, as is very often seen with these kinds of situations, is kind of victim blaming or dismissing, and then trying to make the excuses for the dude's part, which, fuck that. Like, it takes a lot of mental fortitude to come out and talk about that kind of stuff. And like, people kept being like, well, if it happened 9 months ago, why are they coming out about it now? It's like, well, then you've probably, if you're saying that, you've probably never encountered or experienced or been privy to actual abuse, because it's not as easy as coming out the next day. So like, it's been a really frustrating to watch.
It's just
often
proof that like, the stuff that happened last year, one, not just wasn't magically solved.
No.
To like people still are not like, you know, as a society, we still have a long way to go in like listening to, you know, women and other people, like not just women, like anyone who's a victim survivor of these situations, without like disregarding their story or, you know, just saying, oh, it didn't happen. It's a shitty situation. Hopefully things are handled appropriately, but
and it's so often it's within esports scenes, it's like, well, this person's good at the game, so I don't care if they're
for sure. But it's
a
like,
bad person.
oh, I mean,
and it's like
I mean, not on, it's not the same thing, but like that Miami Heat player dropping slurs, anti-Semitic slurs like on a stream,
right on a Twitch stream,
and they got fined like I think $5,000 and they're only suspended, like fucking ridiculous. Like,
oh, it's okay, it's because he said that he didn't know that was a slur.
That's real.
Why'd you say it?
It's just the most pathetic excuse I've ever heard. I can't. I read that and I was like, the audacity of this motherfucker. Like,
that's.
It's just.
Anyways, we don't have to dive too deep into the particulars, but it's just been.
Yeah. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
You would like to hope that people could be more empathetic. But
you would like to think
the internet frequently proves that wrong.
You would hope, but I have yet to see evidence. But
I have one more piece of news if we want to talk about it really fast. It's not written on the document, but I think it's important for our podcast.
Okay.
Shrek is coming back to theaters for its 20th anniversary.
Oh yeah, I wish I could see it. That's appropriate. That 4K Blu-ray of Shrek. That's what I need.
And that's also coming.
I want to be.
They're doing the UHD.
I want to go see Shrek in a theater where I can like be lowered into like a bathtub of like slime.
Like swamp
warm ooze. Like warm slime, like Universal Studios Nickelodeon slime, but warm and not nude, although that should be an option for others who want to. I would want to wear swim trunks, and then
Speedo or like,
and then
board shorts?
No, I would wear like board shorts, like the full. I don't do. Nobody wants to see that.
I mean, nobody would. You'd be in the slime.
Well, I mean, you got to get in and out of it.
Wear a robe.
No, because I don't want the robe to get covered in slime.
Well, I mean, it's rental.
Anyway, just like a D-box situation, but also in a bath of slime.
D-box
warm
tub
slime.
Full of slime.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's what that's what I would like. Get on at movie theaters. I know you need to get people in, and you can make it like antibacterial and antiviral so that it makes it safer.
It's like it's a spa day.
Yes,
it's like a mud bath.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be the ideal way to watch Shrek in theaters.
Yeah, unquestionably.
Yeah.
Or unless you could do so from a swamp in addition to that.
Yeah, I don't want to be outside though.
Like a drive-through. Just like
a drive-in? Drive-through movie theater.
Drive-through.
You have to go around and around.
I'd like to see Tenet on the GBA, please.
Okay, pull forward and park. We'll bring it out to you. Yeah. Shrek's a good movie.
I want Snow Dogs on UMD.
Snow Dogs.
Do you know what's terrible? I think I've probably seen Snow Dogs on UMD. That sounds like...
Okay. Holes is from like the same era, right? That had to be on UMD.
I would guess. I bet we could just search movies on UMD and get a comprehensive list that is not that hard to scroll.
That's true.
UMD movie
I just
list
put it in.
PSP games. Yep.
There were 667
the one
UMD
too many.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of music.
Austin Powers,
videos.
International Man of Mystery. On
Holes
UMD.
was not on UMD.
Wow. What the fuck? But Chicken Run was? Dang. And A Clockwork Orange?
Snow Dogs was not on Clockwork Orange. It's very funny. The idea of watching that on a PSP and on an airplane is really funny to me.
Huh.
The Shawshank Redemption was on UMD.
Oh, hey, Pat. Coheed and Cambria live at the Starland Ballroom.
I knew that. I should track down a copy of that. That would be a good collector's item. Confessions of a Lap Dancer.
Dude, Where's My Car?
Deuce Bigelow, European Gigolo.
Those two make sense to me for some reason.
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption does not.
Oh, well, of course, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children is on there, and the Spirits Within.
Jerry Maguire is on UMD.
Oh, we could be here for a while.
Oh, A Knight's Tale. That's a good UMD.
Yeah.
What's the most recent release? I'm curious. Like,
I don't know.
There's no way to sort on the list I'm looking at.
The
Hangover
same
2. Wow.
Let's see.
The Hangover Part 2 is pretty recent.
John, yeah.
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Well, 2009. What came out in 2009? Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Oh.
Shit. That's the
I should have
ideal.
bought it there.
Till Death Do Us Blart needs
Yeah.
to spin for the next episode.
Yeah.
Allison still has a PSP right now. I know what to get her for her birthday.
You should.
UMD of Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Pineapple Express. Pineapple Express was on UMD.
That's relatively recent too.
The Polar Express. I mean, no, it's from 11 years ago.
Fuck. I saw that in theaters.
Yes, I know. So did I.
Shit.
Seth Rogen has a weed company now, in fact.
That's not surprising. And Seth
Oh
Rogen
my God.
is a pretty
The
good
Guy
dude.
Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movie, the first one, is on UMD.
Wow.
That's probably the most recent one.
We should start putting our episodes out on UMD.
So yeah, The Hangover Part 2 seems to be the last.
What was that release date?
2011.
2012.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
December 19th, 2011.
Yeah, that's definitely takes the cake, I think. The final UMD release, Hangover Part 2. That movie fucking sucks too.
Well after all the others. Like,
Yeah. Most of those are from the mid 2000s.
Yes.
Late, like 2008-ish.
Oh my God, The Pest is on UMD.
oh God, what has this podcast turned into?
It's just us reading a list
UMD
and
list.
I bet someone during that meme that Giant Bomb started at some point watched it on UMD. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's podcast.
That can't be the classic like German film, can it? Anyways,
I'm sure it is.
Wow.
Probably a Superman thing.
No, it's the German. It's got to be Metropolis.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's got to be the movie.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I don't know.
I've seen it. It's okay. Oh yeah,
well,
it is. It is that movie.
Okay.
Jeez.
Well, that is going to do it for episode 163 of the Gaming Fyx podcast, now on UMD on March 13th.
Along with National Treasure and National Treasure 2.
Those seem like perfect UMD releases to me.
Jiu-Jitsu, that new Nick Cage movie about him fighting aliens with jiu-jitsu, is on sale on like the Google Play store. So if you want to rent that from Google, it's like 99 cents this week or something.
That just reminded me, while I have your attention, put 2-factor on all of your everythings forever. because I had my account compromised last week, and that fucking sucked.
They also deactivated your two-factor.
They also deactivated my two-factor, and I even talked to Google Security, being like, "How did they do that?" And they're like, So
that's because you were talking when you thought you were talking to Google Security. You were actually just talking to a wall, just a painted wall in an office somewhere.
Oh.
They told you that's what you were talking to Google.
You were just talking to Google Assistant.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear my phone going off, but BRB.
Oh no, it's them. They heard us.
Well, that's going to do it for episode 163 of the Gaming Fyx podcast on March 13th, 2021. I've been your host, Andre Cole, aka your partner's favorite Ninja Turtle. You can find me on Twitter at Coolslaw, COOLSL4W. Pat, where can people find you?
You can find me kicking back, watching my copy of Roadhouse on UMD, and also at PJC Plays on Twitter.
Alex?
I'll probably be watching the UMD of Short Circuit.
Okay.
Oh, well, Scooby-Doo the movie's there. Hey.
Okay. Hey, did you see that quote going around from Tim Curry where he was going to be in the live-action Scooby-Doo movie until he found out that Scrappy-Doo was in it, and he doesn't like Scrappy-Doo, so he didn't do the movie?
That's very good. That's very good.
That's extremely I don't like Scrappy-Doo
either.
Thanks, Tim Curry.
He was going to be like the villain until finding out Scrappy-Doo was in the movie.
So funny.
Just fuck that. I'm out.
If you've got opinions on Scrappy-Doo, you can send them in to gaming@fyx.space, where we will read them on the air.
Or Tim Curry.
Yeah, you can head over to fyx.space, find some reviews. I swear I'm going to get my Demon Souls review up this week. I just got to get pictures, basically. I just got to take the time to get some pictures. Then I can put it on up.
Then NFT them.
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole review is going to be NFT.
All our reviews are NFT.
All of our reviews are going to be NFTs now.
And I tweeted out from our Twitter at Fyx Podcast that you cannot, under any circumstance, mint our podcast on the blockchain.
We can't stop anyone.
We are going to mint our reviews. Yes. Anyway, yeah, send us an email at gaming@fyx.space. Visit us on Twitter at Fyx Podcast, Twitch, Gaming Fyx,
onlyfans.com/coolslaw.
Where, you $10 a month, you can see me in the nude playing Nioh too.
I'm gonna mint the UMD copy of Click. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. Stay wet, gamers.
They have the first volume of the first season of SpongeBob SquarePants, and that's it.
They also had that on.
So it's like what, 3 episodes?
Yeah.
They take up a lot of those video files. Those discs are tiny.
But they put Stuart Little and Stuart Little 2 on the same UMD.
Stuart Little's tiny. You can fit more Stuart Little on you. I stopped my recording, by the way. This is getting picked up.
Great. Mine's still going. But
yeah, I just stopped mine, but yeah, wow. That's
okay. Bye.
Yeah, that's
Bye,
good stuff. Bye, everybody. So